Let's keep going. So in this video, I want to talk about the excuses that most people have for never starting that business in Africa. As an immigrant that has lived in the United States for a long time, 25 years of my life, that's more than half of my life. I've met a lot of other immigrants that came to America with a dream. Their dream was, at least for the majority of them, but not all. There was some, as soon as they got to America, they're like, I'm never going back. Damn, that place I just came from sucks. I'm never going back. But things change. The America that is happening now is not the same America that was happening just 10 years ago, just 5 years ago. What I'm saying is things happen. Same thing for a lot of places that we left. When I left Africa 25 years ago, there was economic unrest. There was economic chaos. I left to go to the United States to find a better life. And that's most immigrants. Some went to the UK, some went to Australia to look for a better life, some went to France, Germany. But let's check some inventory right now. Let's do some inventory checks to see how things are going in the United States, how things are going in the UK, Germany, France, hell, even Australia. Probably right now, the only place that's safe from chaos and whatnot is probably New Zealand. New Zealand is probably doing really good right now. So hey, if you're an African immigrant, you're looking to escape somewhere, New Zealand and probably Dubai. You get opportunities there. And I was just watching some content from my new favorite YouTuber, Dawood. He did a video about Qatar. Qatar is really nice, man. It's safe. There are a bunch of Ugandans that go over there to work. So hey, man, if I was to be young again, which I'm not, I'm 43 now. If I was to be young again, and I was looking for a place for opportunity right now, it would not be Europe, it would not be US. It'll be the Middle East. You go to the Middle East, spend 5-10 years, you're out. That's most people's dream. Most immigrants' dream is to come in, do their 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and then they get out and then come back to their homeland, start a small business, build their mansion, and then retire comfortably. Most of them that I've met in my travels, because I've lived in 5 different cities in the United States. So I've met Africans from all over the continent. Nigerians, Ghanaians, Kenyans, South Africans, Zimbabweans, people from Botswana, Tanzanians I've met, you name it, Sierra Leone, Senegal. Overwhelmingly, the majority of them have the same plan. They want to come back home eventually and start a business. But where things fail is they come up with excuses why they can't make it happen. There's always something that comes in a form of an excuse. And it's mostly these 3 excuses that come up. The first excuse is they need to buy land first. And then once they buy land, they want to start building their home. And once they build their home, then they start their business. But I think that's a very limited way of looking at things and how to do business. Because when you take that same approach, and I've seen people who take that same approach, but they never get anywhere. So now I see that as just an excuse to not do anything. We've seen generations that are older than us. People that are older than me. I've seen them attempting that strategy of buying land, building their house, and then eventually starting their business. By the time they get to the 3rd thing when they're starting their business, they're too old and tired. They're exhausted. Things change. When I was younger, when I was in my 20s, there was no YouTube. There was no Instagram. There was no Facebook. So I couldn't leverage all this technology. There was no AI. I couldn't leverage all this technology. There was no crypto. I couldn't leverage all this technology to do business. But now that all this technology is here, I know that it's easier than ever to start a business here in Africa because of all these things. Access to information is easier than ever. So much easier. What? If I need to learn something on a specific industry, I go to ChatGPT and then I go to YouTube. The combination of those, that's my university. Every year I graduate from the University of YouTube. Any idea I have, I just go to YouTube and figure out how to do it. This whole YouTube thing, I learned it from other YouTubers. If you look at my older content, it was all about travel content. But now it's more, focused on how to make money on the continent. Because there's so many people that are coming here to Africa. They want to relocate here, but they also need to learn how to make money here. And that's the whole mission of this channel. I'm essentially creating something that I wish I had access to when I was in my 20s. Exactly what I needed when I was 25, 23 is what I'm putting out right now. Because I know there's a younger version of me somewhere that needs this, that needs this game. What I'm saying is that if you listen to some of these people that are older than you that are telling you to take this route, if you're younger, right? If you're listening to some of these people that are saying, wait to buy your land, wait till you build your house, and then start your business. Then you go to Africa and start your business. You already lost the plot. You already lost the game. The question you should be asking yourself is, how do I make something work right now with the limited resources that I have right now? Even though I have all these cameras, see all this stuff right here, all this equipment, all this nice lighting and everything for this YouTube channel, there's somebody that doesn't have this. And I get it. But guess what? They're working with what they have. Maybe they have access to a $100 smartphone like this one. And they're just going around like this. Or they could sit up on a tripod and just do a podcast like this. The game has changed. Because access to information is there. The one thing that you will lose if you take up the strategy of buying land first and building your house first, you will lose time. And time is way more valuable than that house you're planning on building. There's so many people here in Africa, there's so many people that have unfinished housing projects. So many. It's not to say those housing projects are not going to be finished. They will. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to sink, let's say, 50 grand into a building project, you're better off at least just buying the land and sit on it first. Then the rest you've invested into a business. At least do a little portion of it. Buying the land is justified because land is always going to be valuable here. What I'm saying is that a better strategy is you come to Africa, you buy a plot, but instead of sinking all that money into your building project, go find somewhere that is super cheap to rent. And here in Africa, you can rent a place for like $100 a month if you, maybe 200. $200 a month you can find. In Nairobi, you can find places for $250, $300 a month. And it's good, it's cool, it's a cool apartment. It's a cool little spot. So that means for $3 grand, you can pay off 10 months of rent. And then the rest of the money that you have saved up, you're investing into a business that's gonna generate money, cash flow. That cash flow you're gonna use to build your house. Not build that house from your salary. It's not going to work. Because it hasn't worked for people that are older than us. I've observed, this is why I'm doing this content. I'm sharing game that I've observed over the 43 years of my life. Point number 2, why most people, don't make it. The excuses that most people have on why they haven't started their businesses, they need to save up a lot of money. That's not true. That is not true at all. There are business ideas here in Africa that you can start with as little as 1,500. And you can grow that slowly. You can grow it slowly into becoming like a really big empire. Social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube has changed the game. There's so many cool ideas. For example, this idea I keep hitting on, which is live shopping and drop shipping. It doesn't require a whole lot of money to start that business here in Africa. It doesn't. Let's say, for example, you rent a spot over there in Nairobi, and you got a $300 a month apartment. You paid off your rent for the year. That's what, $3,600 for the year. What you do now is you set up your lighting, you set up your cameras. Maybe you start with a smartphone, and you're going on TikTok Live, Instagram Live, Facebook Live, and you're selling all kinds of things. You're selling. Then you go to China and find a plug over there. You're selling, live shopping. That's the new game. And you're bypassing the cost of getting all that inventory, and there are ways to navigate that. The game is all about reputation. If you can build a strong enough reputation online, people will pay you. People will trust you enough. But you got to build the right system so that people can find you. All the attention is on smartphones now. All the attention is on smartphones. Most of the malls that I go to here in Africa, most of the, shopping districts that I go to, the nicer shops, everybody's on their smartphone like this, stalking each other. So if your business is not visible on social media, then you don't exist, at least to the people that can pay you. So saving up a lot of money is not an excuse why you haven't started your business here in Africa. It's not. There are people that I used to hang out with over there in New York, because I lived in New York for 10 years. There are people that I used to hang out with in New York for 10 years. I lived in San Diego for 4 years. There are people that I used to hang out with in San Diego. They used to talk about big game. Hey, one day I'm going to go to Africa. I'm going to go to Kenya, man, and start that business. They haven't. Because their focus was, I'm going to wait until I save up 50 grand. No, you'll never save 50 grand, ever. Just because some of these people are making big salaries over there in the West, UK, US, does not mean they have a lot of money in their account. They don't. The cost of living in America is very high. The cost of rent is very high. There's inflation right now. There are people that make 100,000 US dollars a year, 100 grand US dollars a year, but they're still complaining that they're underwater. They're still complaining that they can't pay their bills. This is how bad things are. So you will never save enough. You got to be able to know how to finesse the game and escape quickly. You got to short the system. And there are ways you can short the game. If you want to learn how to short the game, maybe in the UK right now, maybe in the US, and you're struggling with the cost of living crisis, and you're ready to come back to Africa and start your business, schedule time. I'll put a link in the description of this video. This will be a paid consultation. You need a coach. You need somebody that's been through what you're going through right now, which is struggling to navigate how to get out alive. There are people right now, unfortunately, that are buying groceries on credit. It's unfortunate. But there's still a way out if you play this game right. I always say to my kids, in fact, my eldest daughter likes to play video games. She takes my phone and she goes to play games, mobile games. And I keep telling her, life is like the game that you're playing right now. It's all about stages. Right now you're in the easy stage. The easy stage where, it's very easy. But the game gets harder as you advance. It gets harder and harder. Maybe one day you want to start a family. How are you going to do that in an economy that's crushing? How are you going to do that? Maybe one day you want to get married. Not everybody does not want to get married. I think getting married is one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I enjoy being married. Is marriage for everybody? Absolutely not. It's not for everybody. If you come to me and say, hey, my father, should I get married? I'll probably say no, don't get married. But for me, it works. For me, I love it. I love it because I see the benefits of it when you play the game right. But you got to know how to play the game right. You're ready to play the game right and beat the system, because the system is now a survival mode. The only way out is by knowing how the game works. So you can get the cheat codes. I already got the cheat codes. Schedule time, paid consultation, and I'll teach you how to even get into the right niche, navigate. Let's say you want to get into agriculture, whatever it is, whatever niche it is, figure out a way in that is a low-cost entry and be able to dominate your competition. Because there are people here in Africa that are still doing things the old school way. So if you are coming from an economy that is more advanced, you're already ahead of the game. Because you'll see so many inefficiencies. You'll be like, oh, why did they do it that way? Well, I could do it better. Of course you can do it better. I'm going to show you how. Schedule time. Talk to you soon.